Hey guys, it's Lego Landlord, and today I wanted to show off Lego Transformers Osprey. Growing up being a YouTube kid, I always watched the likes of people such as IX Roll It IX, Starscreamer, Logan Films, those guys. That's kind of what I went into building this with, the idea of trying to produce the main one being IX Roll It IX, because he is objectively the biggest Lego Transformers YouTuber ever. So I tried to mimic some of the styles that I've seen on things such as Cargo or Solar Stream or things like that. Things that I grew up watching. And I think it turned out pretty well with this guy, if I'm being honest. I think this is a very put together alt mode. You can see exactly what I was going for. It has a very distinct silhouette. Generally, whenever I design aircraft, I like them to be actually aerodynamic. So this is very not that. There's not a lot of visible detail. It gets drowned out amongst this sea of black. Taking a look at the cockpit, you can tell this was the best I could do at the scale. This is what I was talking about. This is not very aerodynamic, but I think it does the job. It looks like an aircraft, it feels like an aircraft, and I think that's really what it's all about. So let's take a look at some of the details a little closer if we haven't already. You can see cockpit, which I already mentioned. This section right here was actually supposed to be dark bluish gray, but of course, knowing me, I have a swarm of black pieces, and coincidentally or not, most of my hinges are black. I'm not even sure if these little Among Us pieces are in dark bluish gray yet. Looking at the wings, this is actually what started the whole build. I wanted these to turn into a very specific piece of the Transformer, which you'll see later. Going to the back, you can kind of see what these are. I'm not even going to try to mask it. And then taking a look at the engine, I used the same piece that comes on Quick Stop. Here is the top view. Here's the side, bottom view. So it's a very clean Transformer. There's not a lot of kibble, if any, at all. I think the only kibble that you could consider is these arm sections back here. Let's get into some comparisons. Getting into a classic, the actual first upload on this channel. Here is Kyoto. Bringing in a minifigure, here is Spider-Man. And bringing in something new, I actually built a little human that is in scale with all of my Transformers. This is in scale, don't worry about it. I'd like to pretend that this is a single person cockpit. This is kind of like a motorcycle type vehicle amongst these flying machines. So that's about it for comparisons. Let's get right into the transformation. So, after that horrendous transformation, here we have Osprey in his robot mode. And I think it turned out pretty good for it being a nightmare to convert, especially with some of these pieces aging. I think it turns into a way different alt mode than you would expect looking at this robot mode. For example, everything right here was inspired by Solar Stream. I've taken that before. I've put it on Novatron. I think that the whole idea of the cockpit folding up, broadening out, and kind of hiding itself within the body was pretty clever. Using the arms as part of the alt mode was pretty challenging. Initially, on a rough draft of this guy, they turned into little cannons. And they turned into claws, but I didn't really like that. It clashed with the aesthetic that I was trying to go for. Ultimately, I think it turns out pretty well. The only issue that I think could be resolved a little better are the legs. He kind of has bird legs. These were what started the build. Taking a look at that head sculpt, quote unquote. I chose blue because using a primary color seems to go with what I was trying to achieve, which is that old aesthetic. The shoulders, realistically, there's no use for these 1x2s that have the rounded edges, but I have an abundance of these. I don't think I'm gonna really regret putting these into a build. I gave him the curved shoulders because I thought that it stuck out more in robot mode. Looking at the arms, you have the little fins here. That is just supposed to make it kind of feel like it's supposed to transform a little bit. Addressing the elephant in the room, here is his kibble, and it's not pretty. It looks like he has a tail. Hey, it's Lego Landlord. I'm editing right now, and I wanted to say that I'm a certified dumbass because this entire the rest of this video, it's flipped the wrong way. So I am gonna complain about this being flipped around the wrong way and sticking out like a sore thumb. Even though halfway through filming this part, I knew I could flip it around. I just chose not to because I didn't want to go through the effort of reshooting. So just keep that in mind. Thanks. Okay, bye. I wish I could have managed this better, honestly. It's just kind of sticking there. And I'm sure if you want to try to recreate this build, you can go for it. But personally, I think this is as good as it's going to get. The issue with that, sticking out like a sore thumb, is this section right here is really nice. I could have not done a better solution. This doesn't quite fit flush against the back. Taking a look at these legs, really chicken-like. I don't quite like that as much. But unfortunately, this guy is going to be a staple in my collection. And I think it's about time we get into some size comparisons. So, taking a look at some size comparisons, here he is with the human for scale. I don't think this is bad. I think I like this scale quite a lot. That is what I built this tiny guy for. Here he is with Kyoto, and I think these two look really good together. They share the same color scheme. They share the same inability to want to stand. Overall, I feel like these two would be pretty good together. Perhaps Kyoto is like the rebellious one, whereas he tries to keep him in check. Here's a comparison I forgot to look at in vehicle mode. More like I just didn't want to transform her. But here is wheel spin, and these guys could not be further out of scale if you tried. I mean, a motorcycle being taller than a one-person spaceship doesn't quite make sense, but just for posterity's sake, here is this comparison. And for a final comparison, here is Spider-Man again. Not much to say on this one, if I'm being honest. So finally, for articulation, you have a left and right at the head. The head can spin up and down. The arms can go all the way out and up. You can butterfly joint them. They have a bicep swivel. You can also bend the elbow 90 degrees. He has a full forward and backward at the legs. He technically has a little bit of knee bend, but there's not much you're going to do with that because at a certain point it becomes illegal. You also have a thigh swivel, but I don't really think anybody's going to use that. No ankle tilt, obviously, but that's about it for the articulation. So to cap off this review, do I regret building him? Absolutely not. Do I regret transforming him? For sure. Will he look good as a part of my upcoming LEGO Transformers collection? For sure. But that's about it. Until next time, I've been LEGO Landlord, and thank you for watching me. Bye! I like how he broadens out. I stole this.